So for our project, we had the Bay Area Functional Performance Evaluation, or the BAFPE. The BAFPE is used to test the cognitive and social abilities in people mainly with mental disorders. Mainly schizophrenia and bipolar is what was looked at in the testing for the normative data. You can find the BAFPE for sale at maddak.com, MADDAK, and it costs about $560. You would administer the BAFPE over multiple sessions, not just one session, because it is 10 separate assessments. There are 5 motor assessments and 5 social assessments. Some of the ways it's been used is inpatient and outpatient settings to evaluate the functional performance of psychiatric, brain-injured, geriatric, or developmentally disabled adults, as well as adolescents in a special education setting. Bipolar, manic depression, paranoid, and other schizophrenias were also tested. The task-oriented assessment portion assesses general ability to act on the environment in specific goal-directed ways. So that is the motor portion I was talking about. And the social interaction scale assesses general ability to relate appropriately to other people within the environment. And so the different ways that it tests are, with the TOA or the tasks, are sorting shells, the bank deposits activity, a house floor plan drawing activity, a block design activity, and a drawing a person doing something activity. I'll go into detail about what those are later on in the video when I show you the different assessments. Also, for the social part, it's going to measure them in different social situations, which I'll go on more later on in the video when I go over the assessment. And it's individual, one-on-one, a group, an unstructured group, and I think mealtime. But like I said, I'll go over more in detail on that later in the video. Some more information about the BAFPE are some contraindications of use. We don't want to use this for our clients with visual impairments or severe cognitive impairments, because they need to be able to see very well to do the test. And they also need to be able to have some sort of cognitive function to do the test, because it does require a certain level of cognitive ability. And also, clients unable to interact at all in public situations or social situations, they're not going to do well with this, because it does require you to act in different social situations. Some adaptations that you can make with the BAFPE are, you can alter the task completion time. So, several therapists explain that their clients were allowed to complete tasks on the task-oriented assessment to maintain their self-esteem. So they allowed them more time than is actually given in the manual to complete the task, so they can finish it. Some other adaptations were deviation from the protocols for scoring and analysis of results. So, some reported that the length of time taken to score the assessment deterred them from using the formal scoring protocol. Other therapists made observations of performance while the client was completing the task-oriented assessment. These observations were described as more useful than the actual task scores. So, what that's saying is that other therapists made observations while the client was completing and that the observations were more useful than the task scoring, like the stuff that they learned from what they did from their own, and that wasn't on the paper that we score with, just from their own interpretations of what they were seeing, was actually valuable, even though the client may or may not have performed good when it comes to the scoring sheet. Modification of verbatim instructions. So this would mean, like, in the BAFPE, you have to say the instructions exactly as it says to say them. And they're saying that modification of that could help somebody take the BAFPE that wouldn't have been able to do it with the instructions that we're having to read. And you're also required to repeat the instructions as part of the assessment, so maybe not repeating those instructions back as a requirement might help somebody that could not originally perform the BAFPE to adapt and perform it. A way that this assessment tool can be useful in occupational therapy practice, it can assess a person's cognitive level and different functions pertaining to attention, memory, organization, and their ability to interact in social situations that would be beneficial to OT because they would be able to accurately structure therapy activities on what would best benefit the client. For example, if a client is seen to have significant struggles in attention, the OT could help provide therapy to improve that issue. If the client is seen to have struggles in certain situations, the therapist could find an environment in which to do therapy that would best fit the client. Okay, before we begin the BAFPE seashell task, you're going to want to set up the area with the cups. You're going to want to have the seashells in a bag or a clear container. You're going to want to have your instruction manual with the verbal and written instructions. You're going to want to have your assessment sheet, and you're going to want to have a pen and a nice quiet area for the client to work in. Okay, Abby. For the first task, we're going to do sorting shells. Here's a bag with different kinds of shells. I'd like you to sort these shells into small cups. Specifically, I'd like you to put all the shells that are in the same size, same shape, and color into the same cup. Please use all the small cups. Do you understand the instructions?
Yes.
Can you repeat the instructions and include all the details that you can remember?
I need to put all of the shells by color and size in the small cups.
Yes. You can take up to 4 minutes for this task. I'll tell you when you have 1 minute left to work. If you finish early, please tell me. Go ahead and begin. You have 1 minute left. Okay, the time is up. Are you finished?
Not completely.
Okay, well, it's time to stop working now. What skills are you using in doing a task like sorting shells?
I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you. Now let's go on to the next task. So after the test is over, I will grade Abby with this rating sheet. It grades her on different categories: organization of time and materials, attention span, evidence of thought disorder, ability to abstract, and then there's performance components, task completion, errors, efficiency, motivation and compliance, frustration tolerance, self-confidence, general and effective behavioral impressions. And then you have qualitative signs and referral indications. So we have general observations of language, comprehension of written auditory language, hemispatial neglect, memory abstraction, and task-specific observations. Some of these can be completed during the task, but most will have to be completed after she is done in reflection on her abilities. The last thing you're going to do is use this summary score sheet to combine all your scores that you got from the motor and the social interaction. You're going to add up all their scores here and then reference your BAFPE manual to understand what these scores mean and to see where your client is at in these certain areas. So the seashell task was only one task of 10 different tasks that the BAFPE is required to complete. The second task is going to be your money marketing task, and this is an example of the grading sheet for the money marketing task. The client will receive a list of grocery items. They will receive money, not real money, but fake money that is given in the BAFPE kit. They will need to figure out how much money they're going to need to buy items and how much money they have left afterwards. You will give them the task and they will complete it. And this is what the worksheet for that looks like. And this is what the check looks like that you're going to give them. The next task is going to be the home drawing task. So you're going to have your client draw a home with verbal instructions, and you're going to choose 4 rooms from the list of rooms given to draw a life-size but smaller representation of what a home would look like. You're going to have them draw shapes for the rooms and label the rooms, and when they're done, you're going to grade them using this sheet. The third task is going to be your block design task. You're going to have them look at some blocks for 5 seconds and how they are arranged. You're going to then mix the blocks up and have the client put the blocks back to the same design to the best of their ability. You will then grade them using this rating sheet. The last task, task 5, for the motor task list is going to be your kinetic person drawing task. You're going to have the client draw a picture of a person doing something. You can show the person doing anything that you want to do, and you just want to tell them that it's not a test of their ability to draw, to just do the best that they can. But you do not want them to draw stick figures. You will then rate them on their ability and use the rating sheet to do so. The other part of the assessment is going to be their social interaction. You're going to observe the client in 5 different group situations: a one-on-one, mealtime, an unstructured group, a structured task or activity group, and a structured verbal group. You're going to rate them using the rating sheets for each situation and rate them on verbal communication, psychomotor behavior, socially appropriate behavior, response to authority figures, degree of independence/dependence, ability to work with others, and participation in group activities. And this is the social interaction scale that you will be using in some of the questions that you will have to answer about each section about the client to assess their social level.